Welcome to Hannity. And tonight, Democrats, they have failed Americans, all of you across the country. Their policies have caused backbreaking inflation, rising crime, a housing crisis, and, of course, an illegal immigration crisis. It has created one of the biggest national security threats in the history of our country. We now have known terrorists inside our country. Iranian hit squads we know are in the country. We have gang members, people that have murdered Americans, raped Americans, violent crimes committed against Americans. We have cartels, and the list can go on and on. And now, even simple tasks have become worse under the radical policies of Harris and Biden. You can't even buy laundry detergent without having to call over a cashier in some stores to unlock some glass security case. That is, if you can actually afford it. And gassing up, yeah, $1.50 more a gallon. How does that feel every time you fill up your car? I don't like it. Now, no matter how hard you work, the American dream is now getting out of reach for so many people. 2/3 of Americans saying they're gulping water. Washington Post even suggesting that Americans now need to give up on the American dream of a house with a backyard. Settle for a townhouse. Really? We should settle? No, how about we aspire to? And the media mob and the left wing, in this country scratching their heads. Why is Donald Trump doing so well? It's not sexism, as suggested by Barack Obama, or racism and sexism, suggested by of African-American men, as alleged by Stacey Abrams. Pretty insulting comments. These surrogates for Kamala, they're not doing too well. They're not helping her. Now, coming up tonight, we'll check in with my buddy, our friend, Stephen A. Smith. He will join us with more on why Kamala Harris is actually losing so much support from African-American men and Hispanic-American men. But let's be clear about this. The serious problems that are facing most Americans, they're not going to get better under a Harris administration. She even said, I'll change nothing. At best, that would be the best-case scenario. She'd be a continuation of Joe Biden, which in and of itself is a continuation of American decline. At worst, she will embrace her stated positions, her own words, those core, radical, extreme, socialist, Marxist values, and kind of turn America into Venezuela. Now, during a disastrous town hall last night, Kamala failed to take any responsibility for the failures of the Harris-Biden administration and could not or would not say how the next 4 years would be any different. It was a disaster last night. Take a look.
Some voters, though, might ask, you've been in the White House for 4 years. You were vice president, not the president. But why wasn't any of that done for the last 4 years?
Well, there was a lot that was done, but there's more to do, Anderson. And I'm pointing out things that need to be done, that haven't been done, but need to be done. And I'm not going to shy away from saying, hey, these are still problems that we need to fix.
Haven't been done, need to be done. We have to do them. I can't take it. It gets worse. Apparently, your border czar, Kamala Harris, was just not prepared for a question about illegal immigration or her hypocrisy on the border wall. She once called that Donald Trump medieval vanity project. How was it even possible? She didn't have an answer for this. Take a look.
Under Donald Trump, you criticized the wall more than 50 times. You called it stupid, useless, and a medieval vanity project. Is a border wall stupid?
Well, let's talk about Donald Trump and that border wall. So remember, Donald Trump said Mexico would pay for it? Come on, they didn't.
But you're agreeing to a bill that would earmark $650 million to continue building that wall.
I pledge that I am going to bring forward that bipartisan bill to further strengthen and secure our border. Yes, I am.
To fix the problem, you're doing this compromise bill. It does call for $650 million that was earmarked under Trump to actually still go to build the wall.
I am not afraid of good ideas where they occur.
So you don't think it's stupid anymore?
I think what he did and how he did it did not make much sense because he actually didn't do much of anything. I just talked about that wall, right? We just talked about it. He didn't actually do much of anything.
But you do want to build some wall.
I want to strengthen our border.
Oh, my gosh, just to get a simple answer. Tonight, Kamala Harris is getting mocked and ridiculed for that performance, especially when she declared her only weakness was that she cares too much and she works too hard and surrounds herself with good people and everything. Take a look.
What weaknesses do you bring to the table, and how do you plan to overcome them while you're in office?
That's a great question, Joe. Well, I am certainly not perfect, so let's start there. And I think that perhaps a weakness, some would say, but I actually think it's a strength, is I really do value having a team of very smart people around me who bring to my decision-making process different perspectives. And that is why I engage and bring folks around. So I may not be quick to have the answer as soon as you ask it about a specific policy issue sometimes, because I'm going to want to research it. I'm going to want to study it. I'm kind of a nerd sometimes, I confess. And some might call that a weakness.
The giggling, the non-answer. You know, the passage of time is about time passing. Our communities are about people in the community that like the community because they live together in the community as a community. Democrats cannot be happy tonight. One political analyst of fake news CNN said Kamala participated in a one-person debate and she lost. David Axelrod called her performance I wish I'd thought of it, a word salad city. And frustration and despair at fake news CNN was palpable. You know, if you lost CNN, you've lost. Take a look.
The things that would concern me is when she doesn't want to answer a question, her habit is to kind of go to word salad city. And she did that on a couple of answers. One was on Israel. Anderson asked a direct question, would you be stronger on Israel than Trump? And there was a 7-minute answer, but none of it related to the question he was asking.
If her goal was to close the deal, they're not sure she did that.
I think that the word salad stuff gets on my nerves. I think that some of the evasions are not necessary.
She focused a lot more on Donald Trump, I think it's fair to say, than she did on many specifics in terms of what she would do.
Kamala Harris participated in a one-person debate last night, and she lost.
The word salad, the giggling, the non-answers, the Donald Trump is Hitler and he's a fascist. I mean, it's just unbelievable we're at this point. Even Donald Trump, he couldn't believe how bad Kamala's answers were. Take a look at this.
She said during that town hall she believes they've handled the border correctly. CNN pressed her on it. Would you have done anything different? Do you regret anything? And she said, quote, I think we did the right thing.
Wait a minute, that she's handled it correctly?
Correct.
She said that?
She said that. She said, quote, I think we did the right thing.
We allowed 21 million people in. We allowed 13,099 murderers. We allowed mental institutions from all over the world. If she said that, look, she's a grossly incompetent person. And if she said that, they had the worst border in history.
Now, as you could probably tell, almost no one on either side of the aisle, this thinks this Kamala Harris is a good candidate. But make no mistake here, she would be an even worse president. That's the scary part. And her closing argument to you, the American people, is that Donald Trump is a fascist and a Nazi, and that her surrogates are claiming that she's Stalin and Hitler and Mussolini. We have all heard these smears times and times again. By the way, by Democrats historically over the last 8 years. They even compared John McCain, Mitt Romney, Paul Ryan to Hitler. And meanwhile, Trump's presidency was marked by, let's see, global peace, economic growth and stability, and by some measures, the best we'd had in 60 years, wealth income going up, lowest job for minorities in this country that had suffered under the Obama years and the Biden years. And Israel never had a better friend in the White House than Donald J. Trump. And needless to say, Americans, they're just not buying Kamala's smear campaign. As of tonight, Donald Trump is up in 4 separate national polls. National. He's up by 3 in the Wall Street Journal and up by 2 according to NBC. He's up by 2 over over 50% according to Forbes. Rasmussen has him up by 3. Now, these polls looked a lot different 4 years ago, even though Trump lost by razor-thin margin. The Wall Street Journal had him down by a whopping 10 points in 2020. CNBC showed him down 10. Rasmussen had Trump down by 1. And at this point in 2020, 0 national polls showed Donald Trump in the lead. In fact, the Real Clear Politics average showed Biden up by more than 8 points at this point in 2020. And now Harris is up by less than a point and trending in the wrong direction. And in the battleground states, Real Clear Politics, you see a similar pattern. At this point in 2020, Trump was down by nearly a point in Georgia, more than 5 in Wisconsin, more than 5 in Pennsylvania, more than 9 in Michigan, more than 2 points in Arizona, more than 5 points in Nevada, and more than a point in North Carolina. Now, every one of those states has flipped, and Donald Trump is leading the Real Clear Politics average in the battleground states. His favorability rating is also up 4 points, while Kamala's favorability is more than 7 points lower than Biden at this point in 2020. But again, there's only one poll, and I say this with all seriousness, only one poll that matters, and that's Election Day. And despite a dramatic shift in the polls and the betting markets, this race is still within the margin of error. I am asking everybody, if you care about the future of your country, you want to leave it in a better position for your children and grandchildren, assume that your vote will decide the outcome of this race. Don't forget that red wave in 2022, everybody was predicting, it never materialized, did it? Meanwhile, Democrats are desperate. They are terrified of losing power. They hate Donald Trump. They will jump through hoops to turn out their base. The only way to counter this is to treat every single day like Election Day. In states all across the country, it's Election Day. You can vote tomorrow morning. And don't wait. The polls, get out, vote, bank your vote. I talked to my friend Joe Bastardi, weatherbell.com. He said, Sean, we may have as many as 2 more hurricanes this year. What if it happens election week? You don't know. This is not the system I want. System we got. You want to change it, you got to win elections. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.